Okay, thank you, and welcome to the May regular meeting of the Marysville Exempted Village School District. We've been in session since 5:30, actually, an executive session, and so we will now start with Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And at this moment, I need a motion to adopt the agenda as written.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Yes. And that brings us to the recognition of retirees, and there are quite a few.
So board members, if you'd like to have stand in front, I think we'll have retirees walk through tonight. Sharon is going to read a little bit about each retiree. We are recognizing total years of service in this group of graduates of 461 years combined. So a lot of legacy walking out the doors.
Good evening. It is my honor and privilege to stand before you today as we recognize and celebrate the class of our 2025 retirees. These retirees have given not just their time, but their hearts, talents, and unwavering dedication to the students, staff, and families of our school district. We have 19, and like Diane said, 461 years. That's pretty incredible. At this time, when I call your name, come up here, and I'm going to call in alphabetical order, so come up and receive a gift and shake hands of the board members. Our first retiree is Diane Allen. She has given 13 years to Marysville schools. Kristen Allen, she is an intervention specialist at Creekview with 29 years. Natalie Askew, intervention specialist at Creekview, 25 years. Beth Curran, science teacher at Marysville High School, 9 years. Lisa Feldman, ELA teacher at Bunzold, 35 years. Pam Forder, she was at East Elementary and admin support at the central office for 28 years. Scott Forney, science and fab lab teacher at Bunzold Middle School for 27 years. Rob Hildreth, band and music teacher at Bunzold and the high school for 27 years. Amy Holland, language arts at Bunzold for 26 years. Regina Jones, bus aide for 12 years. Jodine Lowry with SAC. She was a team lead at SAC for 28 years. Candy McCleary, school psychologist for 24 years. Rachel Meyer, intervention specialist at the high school for 24 years. Davina Smith, second grade at Raymond, 26 years. Joe Smith, maintenance technician, 30 years. Richard Taylor, custodian at the STEM school or ECHS in the high school, 23 years. Rebecca Tucker, Intervention Specialist at Bunzel, 26 years. Karen Wells, Assistant Principal and Principal at Creekview and Northwood, 23 years. And Christine Young, Reading Specialist at Mill Valley for 26 years. Oh, nice. Thank you for all you do and all of your years of service.
If we could have all the retirees come back up and we'll take a group picture with the board, would be great.
Oh, okay. And now we're to public participation. Mr. Steve Cox. Pass that down there. Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, now that we passed the levy, I'm going to tell you all what I really think. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
Kill the mic.
Yeah. Now, listen, tonight's Diane's last board meeting, and I couldn't let that pass without saying something. So I'm here tonight to praise Diane. Because of Diane, we have a district that has consistently performed at a high level, despite being woefully underfunded. We also have an award-winning and highly innovative early college high school. In her time here, Diane shepherded the district, our district, through the COVID-19 crisis with a deft touch, ensuring the safety of our students and staff while maintaining a high level of performance. Any superintendent is going to face criticism. What those who criticize have not seen is the level of dedication Diane has always had to this district and its staff. I have personally worked with Diane for these past 2.5 years, where we had meetings and phone calls while most of you all were asleep, and also well into the evening. Despite the fact that Diane knew she was going to be retiring, she showed the exact same dedication this go around, ensuring that this district continued to have the funding that it needed. On a personal note, because of Diane, my daughter had a wonderful public school education, and she has now successfully carried into college. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, Diane, for all you've done for our kids.
And on that note, we have the superintendent's report.
Shoo, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate you getting me to tear up. That doesn't happen often. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and certainly feels good when community members rally behind our kids, and you've been an exemplar of that. So thank you as well. A few years ago, I didn't even know you, right? So a few things. We have a special recognition. Sherry, would you like to come up? I don't see the recipient here. Okay. But definitely worth noticing, right? For sure.
All right, thank you so much. So my name's Sherry Anderson. I'm one of the teachers at the high school in the ag department, and we wanted to recognize Mr. Chafin, which graduation is Saturday, so he might have a few things on his list. So, but we wanted to recognize him because just a couple of weeks ago, the state of Ohio actually recognized Mr. Chafin with the honorary state FFA degree, which is not something that they hand out lightly. So Mrs. Allen got it actually last year as well. But Mr. Chafin received that honor because of his dedication to our students within our program. I mean, he's highly dedicated to all students, but he really goes above and beyond for all. And specifically some things that we highlighted as to what made him qualified for this honor is that he has been a champion for our program, individually for students, but also as a whole. And I think a specific example of what he has done is in his time as principal, Mr. Chafin and I have a meeting that is set up for every 2 weeks. We have an opportunity to sit down and talk about what's going on within the department, how we can help the high school and the district's goals, but then also for him to be able to be involved and know what's going on with ours. And in the few years that he has been principal at Marysville High School, we've only missed one meeting, and that was because Mr. Chafin was sick, and I don't know that that ever happens. And he immediately rescheduled for the first day that he was back. And I think that says huge because there's so many tasks that pull him aside, and so I think that just shows his level of commitment. We asked for some pretty crazy things in our area. We have some pretty crazy outside of the box ideas, and not only is he willing to listen to them, but he's also willing to help brainstorm to help make those happen because he knows that's what's good for kids. And so we really appreciate that. And so I just wanted to take some time to publicly recognize him here at home. And so I know that he's busy with graduation or something with that. So we just wanted to formally do that. So thank you so much.
Okay. Kim, we have wanted to provide a preschool report for all of you and kind of an update of where we are.
He claims it's coming up there. We'll see if he's right. So my report's not going to be super exciting, except for this. This is really cute. So we did come up with branding for our preschool, Mini Monarch Academy. So there is the brand that Mr. Powers and crew came up with. So that's adorable. Let's just all recognize that. Some celebrations with the staffing. You're going to be approving the staff this evening. We recently are having our department meetings at the end of the year with all of our therapy teams. So we've invited all of those staff to those meetings, which is new and different and fun, but we're working on merging all of our staff. Our Neven preschool staff are headed to Harold Lewis building next week to take tours and figure out where their classes are and to let me know what they need. Right now, their secretaries, the two people that we would have had as a building secretary, have both resigned, so we just posted that position, and then we begin our onboarding process with the new staff next week on Monday. Of course, I didn't do most of that. Sharon Gindelsberger and Deb Carpenter did, so I wanted to make sure I gave them a shout out. The progress with our students. So the class lists are complete so far. Of course, that can change. We all know, all those in education know everything changes from May to August, but we think they're complete. All of the peers that we have had on the wait list between Marysville and the Harold Lewis Center have been accepted. So we have nobody on the peer wait list, which is a huge celebration. The preschool handbook is complete, and you guys are going to be voting on that later this evening. We've created a shared cost sheet for all of the other Union County schools if they're interested in having students attend, what that would cost, so that would be at cost and not anything more. We have daily schedules, which was more complicated than you could ever imagine and probably the most difficult thing in the world. but this is what we came up with. And there is also a 2-hour delay schedule. So VAT is allowing us to have that new schedule if there's a 2-hour delay, which is great because our NAVN students this year couldn't do that. And so the AM class, as you know, missed quite a bit of school. So that's exciting. This is all thanks to Carol Lentz and Sula Mendola. So I'd like to give them a shout out. Transportation. So that's been kind of a hot topic, right? So I thought we should address it. Next year, VAT, who currently contracts with Harold Lewis to transport their students, we are going to be contracting with them, or that contract is transferring to us for next year. All students with IEPs in preschool are eligible for transportation, so we are required to transport them. That means all of our students at NAVN that were on IEPs have to be transported along with the students that are at Harold Lewis. Preschool gets a little complicated because we have to consider the highest capacity. So that part of the year is maybe March through May because we add kids weekly depending on their birthday, right? They turn 3 all year round. So we have to plan for the numbers that we are predicting to happen next March and May. So with that, we can't bus peers because the VAT can't add busing to us. They are committed to other school districts, and they can't add drivers to us because, well, we all know the bus driving situation in the country, or Ohio, or Marysville. So therefore, we can't bus peers. We've had a lot of questions about what if peers are at the same child care provider, or what if I'm a staff member, or what if I was bused this year, can I be grandfathered in next year? The answer is no. If we offer to one, we would have to offer to all. So we have to treat everybody equally, and therefore we are not providing transportation to those peers, just because of sheer capacity. And back to our really cute logo. Who doesn't want to end with a cute lion? How about questions for me?
So did you have any open positions aside from the receptionist that you were talking about?
Currently, no.
Okay.
And currently, as of 5 minutes ago,
I understand currently in this business.
only 3 staff will be displaced amongst school age staff. So we've had some resignations there in their programming.
Okay.
And they do obviously understand that if they decide to go elsewhere, that they need to resign from us, or we'll reiterate that on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say thank you, because this popped up not completely unexpectedly, but and I know that you and others have had a very short timeline in which to do an awful lot of work. And all of that work is very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say those 4 ladies that I mentioned earlier, it wouldn't be done without them. They're fantastic, so.
Well, you and I have talked about other areas of responsibility you have, and somehow or another, the things that you're responsible for all get done and get done well.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And
Would you like my other items?
you bet.
All right. Current enrollment is at 5,629. And so, as you know, at this time of year, we start to look at our K numbers as well. All K is pretty steady with last year. This year, we have 30 students enrolled, and there were 34 at this time last year. Regular K is a little bit down. So we're currently studying at 315 students, and we had 345 last year. So we'll continue to watch that. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our levy earlier this month, and just wanted to show appreciation for our community and their confidence in us, and our confidence to continue to be advocates for kids, but also be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That's always been very important, pillar to us, and using that money to provide high-quality experience for kids. So we appreciate that vote of confidence. I would also say on that note, there's been a lot of conversation about our SRO timeline and what that looks like moving forward. I do have a meeting scheduled next week with Terry and Chief Brooks to kind of start talking about what that looks like. It's important for everyone to remember that when the SROs came out of our buildings and back to the police department, there were open positions, and those individuals fell into those open positions. So this will be a hiring process for the city as well. It's not going to be a tomorrow SROs show back up in our buildings. So what we're going to try to work on is a timeline for that. So Dr. Howard and myself met already with Terry and talked about that. So Zach is informed and prepared to kind of take that over after the meeting next week. But I wanted to make sure. Certainly, I would end of the school year, tons of great things going on in the building, senior awards, military signing, banquets, all of that stuff, just best teacher appreciation. We've just had a lot of great celebrations happening on behalf of our students and staff, and just a reminder of the importance of the impact our volunteers have in making those things happen as well. So just shout out. Later in the agenda, you do have the approval of our graduating class for 25. So graduation is this Saturday. As a reminder, keep your eye on the weather. There's a new strategy to try to beat the weather. So there's a window of time. So make sure I will be texting all of you if something changes with the start time as well. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson, Treasurer's Report.
Okay, so for my report, I've got the May 5-year forecast. Obviously, a lot of significant changes this May compared to November because, in part, the levy and also preschool. Also, a lot of variability in the forecast with the new biennial budget coming up. Just as a refresher, the governor's budget that came out originally proposed a $103 million cut in funding to public schools across Ohio, whereas it would add $448 million to the voucher program for private schools. Another concerning issue, there's currently 14 proposed pieces of legislation that would impact property taxes and/or valuations that would potentially impact our local property tax collections. So that's something we definitely need to keep an eye on. The House passed House Bill 96, which is had some very concerning components. From a school funding standpoint, that would have eliminated the Fair School Funding Act and basically implemented a temporary foundation funding and suspended the 5th and 6th year of the Fair School Funding Plan, which would have created a lot more uncertainty when it comes to planning ahead for what our state funding would look like. Another component would be to limit the school district carryover of cash balances to 30% of prior year fiscal year expenditures. That would be very significant to our district. That would potentially cost the district $4 to $5 million if this were implemented, so definitely something we want to keep an eye on. And the way this would work, it would empower the County Budget Commission to suspend voter-approved levies and also disregard the 20 mil floor. Currently, the Senate is deliberating the state foundation funding and those property taxation issues. There's multiple issues within the Senate that could potentially impact the local funding as well. The state budget process won't be finalized till the end of June, but our forecast has to be filed by the end of May. So we basically have to file a forecast with a certain level of uncertainty. But I think a big difference with this biennial budget compared to a lot of the prior biennial budgets, we've always said, well, we've got some uncertainty with state funding because we'll be in a new biennial budget. This year, we've got some uncertainty with state and local funding because of the biennial budget. So the state funding could be impacted as well as our property tax collections. This illustrates a little bit the state budget timeline. So February 4th is when the governor submitted his proposal. And then in April, the House passed House Bill 96. The star is where we're at right now, which is right between the House version and the Senate version that we would expect to see in late May. The yellow line there is the forecast deadline of May 31st. And typically then whatever the Senate passes, it would all go to conference committee, leading to a likely final proposal by June 30th or so. It's also worth noting, even though when the budget is finalized, we will get simulations that will say, here's what our state funding is going to be, but we really won't even then know for sure until October or November, because with even 2 years ago when we had our simulations, the final numbers we received in October or November were off by several $100,000. So this is a high-level look at the 5-year forecast. The red line being expenditures, blue line being revenues. Compared to November, fiscal year 25 revenue is 2.15% over projections, mainly due to increases in new construction and then some PUP tax that I'm going to talk about later. And expenditures are projected to come in about 0.65% under original projections, so pretty well on there. As you can see, our cash balance, the green line, it does remain positive throughout the forecast, but obviously towards the end there, it's dipping pretty low. At the end, that's about $2 million. Our original goal of passing the levy was to have 1 month of expenditures at the end of the forecast, which would have been around $6 to $7 million. So due to preschool, we're going to be falling short of that goal. But at the same time, due to some of the other changes in the forecast, it did offset some of that so that we were at least able to maintain a positive balance throughout. And as you can see, the red line expenditures is above the blue line revenue every year, and that was as we expected. We knew even with the levy that this would be the case, so that means we are in an operating deficit each year in the projected forecast, which means we're eating into that carryover balance. Our cash balance policy, there's 2 components there that we talk about. The first there is having 1 month of expenditures throughout the forecast as a cash balance. We maintain that through fiscal 28, and then as I said there, fiscal 29, we're projected around $2 million, so we would not be meeting that policy, that component of the policy in fiscal 29. And the other piece there is not having expenditures exceed revenue by more than 1%, and we actually have that from fiscal 25 throughout the rest of the forecast. And as you can see, our cash balance does start to drop rapidly. There are some variables that could impact that, though, that we'll talk a little bit about. The revenue side, revenues for fiscal 25 are projected to be just under $63,500,000. From the local side is about 55% of that, and the state side is about 45%. And again, that's something we keep an eye on, where in years past, the number has been closer to half and half, if not even the state side being a little higher. But with the loss of the TPP reimbursement, we're starting to see that change, and likely that gap will even get wider. So this year, fiscal 25, we're projected to receive $463,000 of TPP phase-out reimbursement. This should be our last year. I don't expect any to be received next year at all. We were on the funding formula last year and this year. That means that if we got a new student, we got funding for that student. If we lost a student, we lost funding for that student. So that's in many years in the past, we would have either been on a cap or a guarantee. We're assuming that we're going to be on the formula going forward. I noted there and I underlined that we're assuming funding of 50 new students. Our enrollment projections assume that we're going to grow on average of about 80 students per year. I was a little more conservative on the funded part because this year we were under when it came to funded students because some of that growth was in the preschool area where we're not funded the same. And also since we don't know what the formula is going to look like, we don't know for what amount we would be getting or if there would be some caps put in place as well. If you look at the forecast, you would see a big jump in fiscal year 26 state funding. That's not assuming that the state's going to give us more money or that we're going to have a big jump in enrollment. That jump there is because of preschool. So by taking on the preschool, we're taking on those expenses, but there are some revenue pieces that we would get. So in fiscal year 26, we're projecting an additional $577,000 of state funding for those preschool students. As I mentioned, that new biennium will be in fiscal years 26 and 27. That could impact state and local revenues. A couple other revenue pieces to highlight. The levy that was passed, $6.9 million, that will begin receiving revenue next fiscal year. We would get approximately half of that in fiscal 26. The other half would catch up in fiscal year 27. Then we would be in full collection in fiscal 27. Line 1.04, that's restricted state aid. If you look at that line, you would see a drop in fiscal 26, which might look odd. The reason for that is our science of reading reimbursements. So the state mandated all districts to implement the science of reading program, which required training. They gave us funding for that training. That was a one-time thing, so that's why you see the drop in fiscal year 26. A lot of things happening in the other revenue line. First off, the TIF agreement with the city. As you may remember, basically those TIF areas are exempt for this new levy, so the school gets the full funding for that. So we're assuming that would generate roughly $1.2 million. And again, same as the levy revenue, that's going to be split beginning in fiscal year 26 with full implementation in 27. And that's falling in that other revenue line.
Todd?
Yes.
Are those the residential TIF areas?
Residential and commercial. I'm sorry, yes, it's the residential. I'm sorry, yeah.
I have a question. When we originally had this agreement, I think we're estimating around 900K, but now it's 1.2. What's the reason behind that difference?
We've got updated TIF values, and those values grew. Yep. Also another revenue, with the preschool program, we have the peer students, and those peer students pay tuition. So with that increase in enrollment, we're showing an increase in tuition revenue of $240,000 beginning in fiscal year 26. So that is in there. A drop of revenue in fiscal 26 will be our pay to participate fees. So with the passage of the levy, those fees this forecast is projecting those fees go back to the original $200. So I've dropped the revenue beginning in fiscal 26 with fall sports. And then also the Amazon pilot payment of $903,000. That would be an annual payment. I'm projecting that to be received in fiscal year 29. Theoretically, that could be received sooner, but then we've also seen with Microsoft that there's a chance that it wouldn't be received or could be received later. So I'm showing it in fiscal 29. Looking at our property values, values rose 5.43% for tax year 24, which is a pretty high number for a non-reevaluation year. A lot of new construction. And we are on the 20 mil floor this year. We have received, valuation grew by $33 million of new construction. I've been here for about 11 years. That's the largest new construction value increase that we've had. I don't want to say in the history of the district because I didn't do the research to go all the way back, but that is a very large number. There'll be an update in values in 2025 to collect in 26. We We'll possibly know what that number is going to be when we do the November forecast. As of now, I have a projection in there of 15%. That number is likely conservative, but I've left it a little low because of the uncertainty with those 14 potential pieces of legislation that could impact our property tax collections and/or valuation. Also, I would point out on there, and I don't know if you can even read it, probably not, in the purple line there, that's our public utility personal property tax. That was one of the largest variances in the forecast compared to November. If you can see there, there was a significant increase in value, and hopefully this one is a little more legible. So our PUP tax valuation increased $9.3 million, a very significant increase for that line compared to normal. It's the largest increase we've received in 10 years, which meant with that increase, that meant that actual revenue increased by $567,000. The forecast had assumed a decrease in revenue due to valuation appeals. So that's really one of the biggest drivers of the change in the forecast on the revenue side. So I wanted to point out here why we had assumed that decrease. When it comes to PUP tax as well as our real estate tax, we get 2 settlements per year. This shows a February and August settlement. Sometimes the month varies. But if you look at fiscal year 19 actuals all the way through fiscal 25, those are the actual collections. And again, it's hard to see, but what you can see is that the August collection in every single year has, for fiscal 19 through 24, has been higher than the February collection. And in most years, it was higher by a few $100,000. So when we received our fiscal year 25 August collection of almost $2.8 million, that was a drop of about $400,000 compared to the prior August. So we assumed that the collection split would stay similar, and we also had heard a lot of, our forecast consultant does districts all over the state. There had been a lot of AEP appeals and valuation that had dropped the value in a lot of different districts. So we had assumed that had been the case. So there in the blue number shows our assumption, which was a drop of about $200,000 compared to August. So fast forward, we're now in 2025. We have the actual PUP values, and they went up. So instead of that drop, there was a significant increase, and you can basically see that collection split flipped to where February collected higher than August. And then in our forecast, we're assuming that will even level out and go back to about a 50-50, which isn't usually the case, but it'll work out over time. Sorry, that's a little more in the weeds than usual, but I wanted to explain it since it was a significant variance.
That color combination of the white and green is hard to see.
It was even worse before. I tried to make it better, but yeah. Thank you. And I'm happy to send it to anybody that wants to see it. So turning to expenditures. Expenditures for fiscal 25 projected to be just over $66,200,000. Wages and benefits make up about 89% of operating expenditures. The forecast assumes 6 new hires per year. Healthcare costs are increasing by 2.3% in fiscal year 25, and then we're assuming 9% annually. I would note that through April, our insurance claims are actually well below projections. So if that continues, there's a chance that we would see less than 9%. But at the same time, it only takes a few bad months to really change things around. So we'll wait until we have more months under our belt to make a change in projections there. This shows a trend line on the expenditure side. I thought this was valuable to show because you can see a very large spike in expenditures for fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26, and the other ones are more of the gradual normal trend. So that spike in 25 was due to the ESSER money expiring. If you remember, we had all the ESSER grants, and those were basically, those expenditures were off of the 5-year forecast. They were because the state doesn't have federal grants included in the forecast. So when those monies expired, those expenditures came back to the forecast. forecast, so that's why there was the big jump in '25. And then in '26, it's an even bigger jump. That is because of taking on preschool. There's $3 million of wages and benefits, as well as $650,000 of transportation purchase services for the contract with VAT. And also in that jump is fiscal year '26 also assumes that the school resource officers are brought back. That's approximately $700,000. Like Diane said, that's not as easy as flipping a switch, but for projection purposes, I just simply went with they are brought back. Ending cash balance, true days cash, it's a number that we've talked about and probably will be talking even more about as the state looks at ending cash balances for schools. The Government Finance Officers Association recommends at least 60 days of cash on hand. Our policy calls for at least 30 days. And as we talked about, you can see we do meet that policy through 28, although we're just below the GFOA policy in 28. And then in 29, we would have 9 days cash on hand. So it does start to drop there. The levy slide, which I think that also doesn't work real well, a little hard to read there. So we've talked about our last new money levy previously was in 2008, and then we had that levy renewal in 2018. So the passage of the 5.5 mil, $6.79 million emergency levy in May of '25 is our first new money levy since 2008. That's all. If there's any questions.
That looks like a lot of work.
Well, it's probably going to have to redo it all in November. Could be a lot of changes.
Yeah. Any questions?
So I just wanted to clarify again, the money, the federal money we got for ESSER, we use that to pay salaries, correct? And also
Correct.
pay for summer school.
Yeah, and that would have meant there would have been a drop in some expenditures in the forecast because those expenditures were existing expenditures pulled out, paid for by ESSER, and then brought back, as opposed to hiring new people.
Okay. And just a point of clarification, we have the state funding and the local funding. Our federal funding is actually very low.
Yeah, it's separate, and again, it's not by choice that we don't put federal funding in the 5-year forecast. That's prescribed by the state, but those are handled in separate funds. And on a typical year, we're probably getting probably $2.5 million of federal funding.
Thank you.
I have one question about the TIF agreement. What's the relationship, since this levy is a fixed sum, what's the relationship with the TIF agreement and the effective millage? Or is there one? Because 1.2, that's because the values went up, but will that roll down over the time?
My understanding would, so the amount the levy collects should not change, and it's based on the 2024 values, which is where I came up with that $1.2 million. So it should work the same as in a non-TIF area, meaning as values increase, the effective millage would go down so that we still receive that $1.2 million.
But the number that we receive will stay the same?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And just a point of clarification, that agreement was for this levy cycle only through the current city council and board organization, correct?
It's current from here moving forward. It doesn't go back, which was kind of one of the things we asked, but if that.
But it doesn't go forward either.
Yes,
It
it's
does.
for
It does.
any,
Oh, no, I mean.
I'm sorry.
For this particular levy, but any future levy that would come up down the road, this agreement does not apply to that time frame.
It does. So if we would pass a levy in, a property levy in 5 years, then you would also recognize the increase on from the TIFT value.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, yep.
The only exception would be if a new city council would to change that.
Well, I suppose, but we both voted on that, so.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. All right. Board President's report. No community coffee for Mother's Day. Hope everyone had a great Mother's Day. This is the end of the year, and we have lots of celebrations and more activities than board members can get to. We always appreciate being invited, though. A couple that I went to, Military Signing Day, and I know Jermaine was there. Congratulations to our graduating seniors who are choosing to serve their country through the armed services. Thanks for your service to our country and willingness to protect the freedoms. And that's a huge commitment, I believe. I think, you know, I hope these kids feel appreciated. Also attended the FFA convention, state convention, and witnessed our principal, Ken Chafin, receiving his degree. And there may be a picture floating around out there with matching ties. I don't know. You'll have to look for that. Also attended the early college science fair this week, and that was amazing. I had 4 students. One didn't make it because I was running late, but one was just phenomenal of those 3, and it was on AI intelligence and how to detect that and how accurate that is, and whether teachers are going to be able to spot AI or not. And he seemed to have a pretty good handle on it. Scary, actually. And then I'd like to not lastly, I got several more, but say thank you to the Marysville school community for approving our $5.5 million levy. We have to work to do, we have some work to do, but we're committed to continued financial stability and providing strong educational opportunities for our students. We appreciate your confidence in us to do both of those things. And then, let's see here. Need to introduce Mr. Smith. I think he has something to add tonight.
Yeah. This is Dr. Allen's last school board meeting at Marysville. And I think I have been on the board longer than anybody else, and it was shortly after she took a position here. So 8 days. Your last day in office is going to be in 8 days. 13 years ago, I met you. Dr. Allen was 5 months into her superintendency, and I was 5 days into my first term as a board member. I think both of us were a bit apprehensive, as I had very little idea what my relationship with the superintendent should be. And for her, meeting a veteran teacher that had some inside scoop on the events and things that had passed may have caused her some concern. What developed for me was an immense respect for somebody that worked constantly and energetically to make a difference in the future of the students attending Marysville schools. After spending time to learn our district and the community's values and expectations, Dr. Allen introduced personalized learning to the teachers and administrators in our district. Within several years, Marysville became one of the leading school systems in the state of Ohio with innovative academic strategies. Fostering our district's academic growth, Dr. Allen was instrumental in Marysville gaining national recognition for instructional methods and course offerings. 2 specific events occurred early in her tenure that I believe stoked the fires of academic success and creativity. One was the adoption of a mission statement that has become ingrained within Monarch culture. My view of mission statements, my experience is that most of them are created, get put in a folder, put in a file someplace, and that's about as far as they ever go. But not this. Innovate, collaborate, inspire. However those three words came to be the mission statement, it was a spark of genius. It has driven instruction, evaluation, and expectations in ways that I could never have imagined. That statement freed our instructional staff to experiment, fail, try again, and find ways to invigorate student interest. The second is the application for a straight A grant from the state of Ohio. Dr. Allen's background, understanding of the state's growing interest in workforce development, and her drive to be ahead of the curve motivated her to begin work with local industry and higher education to explore ideas for new ways to provide exciting learning opportunities for students. These initial steps occurred as the state offered a grant opportunity for new and innovative educational approaches to STEM education and workforce development. Marysville applied and was awarded $12.5 million to remodel the building, which is now the Marysville Early College High School. It is one of only a dozen certified STEM schools in the state of Ohio. Without Dr. Allen's guidance and vision, Marysville would have missed this opportunity. And I would note that this allowed our district to have a second high school without any input of local tax dollars. And the cost to try to duplicate that building today, I think, is somewhere in the $70 to $900 million range. So just amazing benefit to our school district. While Dr. Allen faces school district challenges daily, COVID-19 probably tops them all. Under her leadership, Marysville developed its own data collection system for tracking the impact of this pandemic. This local information was invaluable in supporting both this board's decisions and administrative actions to address all the demands imposed by federal, state, and local officials. Additionally, Dr. Allen worked with teachers and administrators to ensure the continuation of the high academic standards students and parents expected, developing new school day schedules, addressing transportation needs, supporting internet access across the district and in homes of many students. Dr. Allen and her staff minimized the impact of the virus on student learning. Responsive to community and parental concerns, Dr. Allen led the district in building new athletic facilities which address deteriorating and dangerous existing facilities at Marysville High School and a lack of facilities at Bunsold Middle School. A remodeled high school competition gym and improvements in other fields and facilities provide safe and inspiring locations for our students to perform. Dr. Allen's foresight and recognition of opportunity has allowed Marysville to be the springboard for educational reform in Ohio. The Science of Reading, Mental Health Initiative, Autism Identification, and STEM education have all found early development and application within our district. These initiatives have contributed to legislative action and state law benefiting students across Ohio. Throughout this process, Dr. Allen has built a working relationship with and earned the respect of many individuals within state government, bringing credit and recognition to our school district. In the post-COVID years, Dr. Allen has led the district's continued growth and development. Academic progress places our district among the top school districts in the state. Financially frugal, she has safeguarded taxpayer dollars. Experiencing growth and development challenges, our current facilities planning project is emblematic of Dr. Allen's future forward vision. She has championed positive relationships with city officials and developers. Building bridges of communication, Dr. Allen has created conditions allowing the district to become more engaged in the development decisions in our community. Throughout her tenure, Dr. Allen has been recognized for her ability to foster collaboration among teachers, parents, and staff, allowing them to take the spotlight while she works behind the scenes to ensure the district's success. Her approach has been characterized by a focus on building teams and setting future goals, demonstrating a commitment to long-term vision for our school district. While challenges are constant for any school district, Dr. Allen retires from Marysville Schools having accomplished a multitude of goals. She has lifted expectations and inspired excellence throughout all the district programs and activities. When she arrived, she identified providing students with hope as the key component to a successful school. Creating an environment where hope flourished became her primary goal. Borrowing a few words from Carmen, Ohio, summer's heat or winter's cold, the seasons pass, the years will roll. Time and change will surely show how hope thrives in Marysville schools. Thank you, Dr. Allen, for all you have done for kids.
Thank you.
I don't think we can top that. And then I was to introduce you. Okay, all right. And let's see here. Let's see, we have Matt Keller, student achievement.
Just a few things the principals noted, getting through state testing in April and May. Our ECHS students received $1.5 million in scholarships. And then in this report, I attached the OSBA Success Newsletter if anyone wants to read it. There was a cool study in there about the cell phone use and it being not used within the schools. It wasn't in Ohio, and student achievement rose. I thought that was interesting. And of course, graduation on Saturday.
And Jermaine, the legislative report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Legislative report was sent out earlier this afternoon. Some updates. I know last meeting I talked about the Ohio Auditor publishing district financial health indicators. There was a class through the auditor's office kind of going over the report. Those reports are published online. I concluded the PDF reports, but I'm still, you have to kind of dig in to understand exactly what the dashboard means, but it does a good job providing that description. I did submit in-person testimony to the Senate Education Committee regarding the operating budget bill, and I won't go into it more because it was kind of talked about in our five-year forecast. Under the governor's office, the Innovation Waiver for College Credit Plus program will allow higher education institutions to eliminate GPA and placement test prerequisites for students wishing to pursue high-demand job fields like technicians or electronic, mechanical engineering, manufacturing engineering. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out, but that's something that was announced last month or a couple weeks ago. House Bill 15, at the time of this report, I said it was at his desk, but I believe this is now signed into law. This will decrease the TPP tax on tangible personal property tax on new generation and energy conversion equipment from 25% to 7% starting in tax year 2027, and also has some requirements for existing infrastructure that needs to be converted or repowered. So I don't know if this impacts us. I know we have AEP in our district. I don't know if this has a significant impact on us, but is something that school districts are looking at. In the Ohio Senate Bill 158, this is the cell phone prevention or the cell phone bill that will prohibit students from using their cell phones during the instructional day. There are exceptions for learning or monitoring health concerns if that's determined appropriate through a student's IEP or 504 plan. And it does suspend the prohibition during an active threat or emergency if the building's comprehensive emergency plan permits it. That was passed by the Senate. The House has a version. I'm not sure. We'll probably most likely see this in the budget bill, though. There's going to be some kind of a complete ban. I'm not sure how that's going to be implemented. Personally, I'll just use my opinion. I think high schoolers, they're learning how to drive, work, and employers take college credit pluses. I think there should be some kind of carve out for high schoolers because they're going to be adults. Some of them are going to be adults after this weekend. So we have to build up some scaffolding, in my opinion. But it looks like Ohio is determined to make a complete ban in our schools, and there's some benefits to that for sure. But we also need to encourage our older students to learn how to handle a cell phone technology and focus. Senate Bill 62 is the School Bus Safety Act. This is going to allow civil penalties for illegally passing a school bus if the driver cannot be identified. It will direct those fees and fines to the bus safety grant at the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, and it will designate the month of August as School Bus Safety Awareness Month. It's completed its third hearing at the Senate Judiciary Committee, so it's gaining some traction. Moving to the House, House Bill 129 is assigned to the House Ways and Means Committee. It's had 2 hearings so far, and it seeks to remove the, I'm going to use the words quote unquote, unvoted spikes in property taxes by including fixed sum levies and income tax and calculating the 20 mil floor. Something I didn't mention here is that the sponsor, Representative Thomas, in his testimony did kind of concede that the income tax part may be more problematic and potentially could get removed because it's a separate income tax is not property tax, and so 20 mil floor is based off a property tax, so that part could get removed. So the fixed sum levies are going to probably be the most, what they're trying to make sure it's calculated. This will also prohibit a district from shifting the purpose of inside millage to increase revenue. My understanding is if you have inside millage going to your operating fund, but you switch it to go to your permanent improvement fund, then it helps you receive increased revenue. It's my general understanding. This does have support by the County Commissioners Association, the Ohio Realtors, Chamber of Commerce, and those organizations typically support things that have momentum. So that's something that, as Todd mentioned, could play a significant role in our future. House Bill 114 requires all districts, it changes the kindergarten admittance. I've listed everything out there. I'm not going to go into it differently. Some things that I thought was interesting was the LC analysis says that this will kind of see a reduction in the state of 6,000 fewer students in kindergarten. So I don't know if there's a financial motivation behind this requirement. Right now, I guess I will go into the details because I should. It will require all districts and schools to admit kindergarten child who is 5 years by the first day of instruction of the school year. It will require you to admit that, and any child who is 6 years old by the first day of instruction and has not completed the first grade. The bill will eliminate an option for districts to adopt a resolution to establish August 1st as the date for the student to be enrolled if they're age 5 in kindergarten. But it does retain the provision that a local school may admit kindergarten, a 4-year-old to kindergarten who will turn 5 by January 1st if there is referral and evaluation or under the school district's acceleration policy. I'm sure we'll hear, if this gets passed, we'll hear this through policy committee and more informed people can tell us how to implement this. I think that if I highlighted anything, it's just there's an update to a previous update that we've given. So if you're following this report, if there's anything in yellow, that means there's been an update to that bill. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. What about the drug and safety report? Anybody?
Nothing new to report there.
Nothing to report. Okay. And now we need a motion to approve the draft minutes from the previous meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second? Oh.
Second?
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion on draft minutes? Seeing none, we'll take a vote.
Mr. Smith?
Yes?
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Yes. And now we need, let's see here, a motion to approve the resolution to rescind reduction in force of certified employees.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to rescind the reduction in force. Any discussion?
I've never been so happy to rescind anything in my life.
I would agree. We'll take a vote.
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes?
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Kay?
Yes. And now we need a resolution to, yeah. We need another one to rescind the motion of reduction in force of classified employees.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Been probably moved and seconded that we rescind this motion for classified employees. Is there any discussion?
This is a good resolution.
Good rescind, okay. Any other discussion? We'll take a vote then.
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes?
Mr. Kay?
Yes. And then, yeah. A motion to approve the retirement incentives memorandum of understanding.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Diane?
It's simply just an extension. STRS changed their guidelines for retirement, so we were actually having some people retire within the same year at a different incentive, which didn't make sense. So this would allow the same $20,000 incentive to extend to people who notify us by the end of this month.
Any other discussion? Okay, we're ready for a vote.
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes?
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Kay?
Yes. And now we're up to a recommendation to approve a student expulsion appeal decision for MM. And I think,
Mr. President, I move to affirm the expulsion decision of the superintendent in regards to the expulsion appeal hearing which took place on May 6, 2025.
is there a second? Okay.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I'd like to say just a couple of things. First of all, student safety is the first priority in this school district. And the second thing is that anytime any disciplinary action is taken by the district, there are processes and procedures that are in place that match what the legal standards are, what the legal processes should contain. And one of those is due process. And so all of the features of due process have been followed. All of the applicable policies have been applied in the proper manner. And so there's no violations, or there should not be any questions concerning that.
Any other discussion? Okay, we're ready for a vote.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Kay?
Yes. And then we're on to first read policies. And we don't need any motion on that, just.
Correct. No motion.
So make sure you take a look at those before the next meeting. All right, and we need a motion to approve the policy resolution to adopt special education model policies and procedures.
So moved.
there a
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or explanation?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, I serve on the policy committee, and so I was able to meet and get some background. This is all due to state law changes. There is a handbook, the policy IGBA, Programs for Students with Disabilities. It's required by state law. This is a one-time because we have to have it by the end of this month. Due to time requirement, we have to take action, and there is also a attached resolution for your review, which lays out several kind of text changes in the manual.
Are those all in one, or do we have two motions here? Okay, that's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes. Okay. And then we have a motion to approve the resolution authorizing contract with Capital Aluminum and Glass Corporation for the purchase and installation of windows and associated materials at the Marysville High School.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I would just note that this is to replace over 300 windows at Marysville High School, many of which were from when the building was originally built in 1990.
And I assume this comes out of PI
Correct.
funds? Okay.
Mr. President, my only concern is that I know HPM has done an assessment of our facilities, and we've made a couple of decisions based off of some new information, but we do not have a presentation yet for kind of what their findings were as far as the building adequacy scores. And this decision tonight, I believe, stems from their findings. However, I would like to kind of last meeting, we kind of talked about this, have that presentation presented. What were the projects, kind of resetting our permanent improvement forecast, that 20-year permanent improvement forecast with maybe some higher understanding what projects that we are going to keep and try to work out of our permanent improvement fund, and which ones we are going to look at our master facilities plan with the upcoming bond issue. This investment is $942,000, and this is phase one. The second phase is about $250,000. So just understanding the complete picture and the menu of options, and maybe having board members weigh in on that strategy, in my view, would be the preferred option. That way we know the last two meetings or the last 2 years for PI, this project was not on the list from those meetings, because I requested those notes each year so I understand what's our permanent improvement fund or the projects that we're looking to accomplish this year, and this is new. I'll support the majority tonight. This is a night of celebration, so I'm not gonna have a lot of heartburn on this, but I do think it's very important for us to receive this presentation so we can kind of understand the big picture instead of making these decisions kind of one at a time.
That presentation is slated for June. The presentation from HPM is slated for June.
Okay. Any other discussion? I would just say that, I fully agree with you, first of all, but I would say that probably when we're looking at windows that are 30 years old, and having witnessed some of those windows while I was there 6 years ago, rotting away, that we're probably, to a point where a decision had to be made pretty quickly. I don't know that there was a lot of forecasted planning. I wish windows lasted 100 years like they used to, but they don't anymore. So
It is worth noting that when I don't know exactly what the presentation will look like, but we do have a list of items that need replaced and updated and those things, and the high school windows were one of the items listed as a high priority. To your point, there's other items as a high priority as well, that, but our maintenance department decided that this was the one they wanted to tackle.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Ms. Savage? Yes. Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Oh, I was waiting for another one. I'll say yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Kay?
Yes. Okay. And now we have a motion to approve all treasurer's CFO action items.
Just the forecast. 9.8 is the 5-year forecast.
Okay. Need a motion to approve the 5-year forecast. Oh, I see it now. Okay, got it.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion that we haven't already had on the 5-year forecast?
No, I would just remind people that when you look at all the potential variables, this is a snapshot today that could change in a matter of hours. And hopefully what the state does will improve our 5-year forecast rather than take it in the other direction. So,
Yeah. I would also say if anyone has any pull out there with the state, that they use it. I've never seen this much turmoil in the state budget in all of my years in education. It seems like we're under attack from every direction. So if you can say something to your legislators, it would be a prudent time to do that.
I do have one question I forgot to ask. Todd, you mentioned the ending cash balance policy. We have a requirement for expenditures not to exceed revenue by more than 1%, and that does throughout the 5-year forecast. If we're in violation of that policy, what's the consequence for that?
From our own policy standpoint, it's less of a consequence and more of an alert that it kind of triggers the board to take action. That action could be, spend down our ending cash balance. That action could be to make budget cuts. That action could be to pass a levy. But it's more of an alert.
Okay, thank you.
And just a reminder that Monday, the Finance Committee met and reviewed the 5-year forecast. So there's a fairly lively discussion with a large group of community members about the 5-year forecast. So.
Great. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote.
Mr. Smith?
yes.
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Kay?
Yes. And now, recommend to approve all treasurer's items listed above, or actually below.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Properly moved and seconded that we approve these treasurer's items. Any discussion?
I don't really have anything to add. It's just the usual items. I would note that there's multiple donations on there, and thank you to the donors.
Okay, all in favor?
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Kay?
Yes. And next motion to approve the superintendent action items.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would point out there's a lot in my section this time, but graduation list is on there, pending successful completion of requirements, handbooks and fees, overnight trips, from the HR side, I would point out several retirements that probably were motivated by the SCRS change. Amy Holland, who is here tonight, 26 years of service. Davina Smith, 26 years. Joe Smith from maintenance, 30 years. And Becky Tucker with 26 years. So congratulations to all of them and their next steps in their journey as well.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote.
Ms. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Yes.
And if I could, real quick,
Yes.
Mr. President, we do have two people that I think you would like me to point out. Kara Jackson, you just approved to be the new assistant superintendent, is here in the back. And as well, Jenny Thaxton, the new student services director, is over here on the side. So I don't know if you guys can see her off the stage, but welcome to you both. Marysville is a fantastic place, and you're going to love every minute.
Okay. And then we're to comments and questions from board members. And we'll start off with Jermaine.
I'm just going to say thank you. And I know, I don't know, I feel like a couple of days after I was walking in the coffee hall and someone was like, oh, I thought you would be walking with the spring in your step. And I was like, well, we still got a lot of work to do. And tonight kind of reflects that in our 5-year forecast and some of our decisions that we've made. There's still a lot of work to do, but we're thankful to the community members who stepped up and showed their support for this district. But, you know, trust and confidence is earned daily, and we hope to continue to earn that. So thank you. And also, Dr. Allen, this is, I might text you tomorrow or next week until you're officially gone, but I do really appreciate your guidance and your leadership in this district. I feel like I've been on the board since, I feel like it's been very focused on the levy and kind of the war years. Maybe that's not the good analogy, but coming off of, I did not experience any of the COVID impact. I came right after that, so thank you guys for handling that. But we rolled right into levy planning, and it's been, there's no question. Every time you had a question or a text message, you would be quick to answer, and their dedication to this district is not questioned by anyone, and I really do appreciate your leadership and paving the way for us and my kids for our community's future. So thank you so much for your service.
Ms. Savage.
Yep. I want to thank all of our retirees that are leaving the district. I wish them a very happy bon voyage, though 431 years of experience walking out the door does make me a little nervous. But I wish the best for them and their future endeavors. And I want to welcome Scott, Jenny, and Kara to the district. Very happy to have you here. I'm super excited about all the end-of-year activities that have been going on. I've been bogged down a little bit with the cold here, so it's kind of spoiled some of that, but it just impresses me every year how many wonderful things that our district does for their students. So thank you to all the students and all the parents and all the volunteers to make all those things happen.
It's definitely a great time of year. A big thanks to the staff, family, and kids for, I think, making a successful school year. A big thank you to the volunteers for the levy committee. The future looks more promising for our kids because of that. And Dr. Allen, thanks for your years of service.
Mr. Smith.
Yeah, and the night that they were counting the votes on the levy started out on a positive note with the first results that were posted. And when the final numbers were there, it was a sense of accomplishment, a sense of relief, a sense of joy, a sense of, I don't know the right word, because this keeps our head above water. We ended up with a more improved 5-year forecast. But as you point out, both of you, there's still a lot of work to do. And how we got to this point was through making some difficult decisions, reducing staff and changing some programs and so forth. And I would hope, my hope for our future is that we get to the point where we begin adding some programs and begin to do even more for kids. I had my say for Dr. Allen. I wish all the graduates the very best as they go through. Our new administrators, welcome to all of you, those here and those that are not here. Our new superintendent, I think, is in Michigan working and spending time with some family. And I look forward to him taking over the reins here in just short order. So.
Okay, and I just want to say to Dr. Allen that having been on both sides of the fence, I'm glad I've been on both sides of the fence and really have grown to admire what you do. And like has been said many times tonight, your decisions are always focused on the students, and sometimes that's not popular with the adults, but oh well. And, you know, we do have to keep sight of the students, and I appreciate the fact that you've done that for us. So with that,
Mr.
mind?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Let me before you talk, I had and I offered this hopefully as a light moment. Somebody was asking about superintendent serving on the board, and I said, have you ever looked at or read either the movie or the books of the Lorax? I said, sometimes being superintendent or being a school board member is like being the Lorax. You're speaking for the trees. And so you've done that well.
First of all, Mr. Smith, thank you so much for your kind words. And as a relatively new superintendent, and you get a retired teacher who's the former MEA president, you talk about pressure or uncertainty, but it's grown into a great friendship that I cherish, and I appreciate everything you said tonight and everyone else as well. 34 years is a long time to serve kids in education, and I can tell you I've loved every minute, from my time at Reynoldsburg to my time at Southwestern to coming here. But serving as superintendent at Marysville for the past 13 years has been one of the greatest honors of my professional life. I want to begin by thanking the Board of Education, current and past, for your steadfast support and leadership and shared commitment to always put kids first. That's why we do what we do. Our collective efforts of a governance team over my tenure has been instrumental in moving our district forward in alignment with our strategic priorities: academic excellence, student well-being, and community engagement. To our incredible staff, thank you. You are the heart of Marysville schools. Your dedication to our mission, your belief in students, and your willingness to embrace innovation have made a lasting impact. Whether in the classroom, behind the scenes, or in buses or buildings, your work has shaped the lives and strengthened our community. To our families and community partners, thank you for your trust, collaboration, and unwavering belief in the power of public education. Together, we have built a strong partnership that supports every single learner every day. And to our students, you are why we do this work. Your energy, your promise, and your potential and your future inspire me every day. I am confident that your future is bright because our future is bright because it's in your hands. As I retire, I do so with a full heart and great hope. Our district continues to be a leader and a model in the state with literacy, workforce development, and personalized learning. Our pursuit to provide a collective school experience which helps students think about and inform their future has come to life by ensuring that we nurture the whole child, pursue excellence, and remain connected to our community. I am proud of what we've accomplished together, and I always will be cheering for the Monarchs from the sidelines. I am and will always be proud to be a Monarch. My passion and advocacy for education is far from complete, but I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity to serve here and look forward to my future journey. But this experience has been a once in a lifetime. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
At this point, we need a motion to adjourn
So moved?
and a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes, we're adjourned.